If you think Caitlin Clark deserved more support from her league, hit that like button. Drop a comment below. Do you think the WNBA missed the moment, or were they right to stay out of it? And if you're here for more sports drama, media flops, and the stories that make headlines shake, don't forget to subscribe. It's only going to get messier from here. Let's get into why this moment matters more than it may seem on the surface. This wasn't just a golf tournament. It wasn't just a few good swings or a fun little side activity.
If you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe.
This was a cultural collision. A top-tier athlete crossed into another elite sport, didn't embarrass herself, didn't flinch under the spotlight, and actually excelled, all while maintaining the same poise and likability that made her a sensation in women's basketball in the first place. Caitlin Clark didn't just show up to golf. She became the moment. She was trending during a golf event, a sport that, let's be honest, doesn't usually dominate timelines. The golf world didn't just acknowledge her. They embraced her, celebrated her, even called her transcendent. That word doesn't get thrown around lightly in sports. It's used for the Serena Williamses, the Tiger Woodses, the athletes who change how people view a game. And yet, her own league stayed quiet. That silence wasn't just a missed opportunity. It was an exposed nerve. Because Caitlin's rising profile outside basketball touched on something the WNBA has been struggling with for years: visibility versus control. The WNBA wants the spotlight. It wants growth. It wants stars. But it also wants those stars to play by unwritten rules. Keep the shine on the team. Don't outpace your peers. Don't bring too much attention to yourself if it makes anyone uncomfortable. And Caitlin? She's blowing that model wide open just by being herself. She's not doing anything outrageous. She's not launching podcasts or stirring controversy in interviews. She's showing up, playing hard, being gracious, and somehow still drawing criticism from inside the house. Let's talk about that subtle hostility, because it's not just about what the WNBA didn't say. It's also about what some of its players did say. Comments like "stay in your lane," side eyes suggesting that Caitlin was making it about herself, criticism implying that she's overshadowing the team or chasing fame. Those statements weren't just bitter. They were revealing. They showed us that internal dynamics in the league are more fragile than they appear. That success, unless evenly distributed or tightly controlled, is seen as a threat, not an asset. This isn't just a Caitlin problem. It's a systemic problem, one where athletes are expected to bring attention to the league, but not too much attention to themselves. One where being excellent outside the game is applauded, as long as everyone else is cool with it. But here's the thing. Greatness doesn't wait for a group consensus. It just happens. Caitlin Clark is doing what generations of athletes have done before her, expanding the image of what it means to be a pro. She's showing that athletes today can be more than just a jersey and a stat line. They can be cross-sport ambassadors, media personalities, cultural figures. In the leagues they play and have two choices: celebrate that, or try to contain it. Guess which one actually leads to growth? The NBA figured this out a long time ago. They leaned into their stars. They didn't get uncomfortable when LeBron started making documentaries or when Steph Curry started showing up in golf tournaments and doing media deals. They said, cool, that helps all of us. The WNBA, unfortunately, still seems trapped in this scarcity mindset, as if only a certain amount of attention is allowed at any given time, and if one player gets too much, the rest suffer. But it's not a pie. It's a spotlight, and Caitlin just widened it. What makes this even more frustrating is that Clark wasn't even trying to make a statement. She wasn't on some PR tour. She was just doing what she loves, golfing, and doing it well. The fact that this became a league-wide tension point says less about her and more about the environment she's operating in. And let's not forget, this is a player who helped drive real numbers. She brought in fans, sold out arenas, boosted ratings, created viral moments. And she did it in her rookie season. If the league can't support her when she's doing something positive, when will they? Because Caitlin isn't asking for permission. She's not sitting around waiting for the WNBA to validate her. She's out there doing the thing, and fans are responding. Young girls are watching her rip 270-yard drives and thinking, wait, I can play both. That's what makes this so powerful. She's not just pushing boundaries, she's erasing them. And that, apparently, is more disruptive than any controversy. So now we have this weird situation where one of the most valuable athletes in women's sports is being undercut, not by her competitors, not by rivals, but by the very system that should be promoting her. Let's say it louder. Caitlin Clark didn't create this divide. The league's response did. Their inability to celebrate her moment exposed everything fans have been suspecting. That internal politics, jealousy, or just outdated thinking might be holding the WNBA back more than anything else. And fans are not having it. They showed up in her defense. They asked why the WNBA's social media stayed quiet. Why other athletes couldn't see this as a win. Why a league that's always asking for more visibility can't seem to handle it when it actually arrives, just not in the package they expected. Here's the wildest part. This didn't even have to be controversial. The WNBA could have posted a simple, look at our star showing out on the golf course, tweet, a short clip, a photo, a half-hearted congratulations. Something, anything. Instead, they gave us radio silence and passive remarks. And the fans noticed. Everyone noticed. That kind of misstep has consequences. Because now, the conversation isn't about golf. It's about loyalty, support, and whether the WNBA knows how to treat its most valuable assets. Caitlin Clark is clearly not going to be boxed in. She's showing what the future of sports looks like. Athletes who connect across platforms, across fan bases, and across cultures. She's redefining what it means to be a women's sports icon. And that scares people who've only known one way to operate. But it's too late. The shift is happening, with or without institutional support. The only question now is whether the WNBA will adjust and evolve, or continue sidelining its brightest lights the moment they start shining outside the lines. Because let's be honest, if the league can't figure out how to embrace a player like Caitlin Clark, someone who's elevating women's sports across the board, they're going to lose more than just her spotlight. They're going to lose trust. And once that goes, the fans follow. Caitlin isn't the one who needs to course correct. She's already proven she can handle herself with grace and humility, even under unnecessary scrutiny. She's building a legacy, one drive, one game, one fan at a time. And whether the league is ready or not, that legacy is already bigger than basketball. Let's be brutally honest. The only thing Caitlin Clark did wrong was succeed too well in a space that wasn't basketball. And that's what triggered the backlash. Not because she was disrespectful. Not because she embarrassed the league. Not because she took a political stance or made waves with the media. No, her crime was being a multi-sport natural who handled a high-pressure spotlight with ease. She stepped into the golf world with nothing but talent, confidence, and a smile, and walked out with another fan base in her corner. But what she also walked into was a storm brewing beneath the surface of the WNBA. And it wasn't just about her swing. It was about how a league built on unity and sisterhood is clearly still wrestling with what it means when one player becomes bigger than the game. Because let's not pretend this started at the RSM Classic. Caitlin's been shaking the status quo from the moment she entered the league. Her debut season was massive. Record-breaking. She pulled in viewership numbers that made headlines. She sold out arenas in cities where tickets never sold out before. Her name trended almost daily. And while fans were living for it, some of her peers were not. You could feel it. That uncomfortable undertone of competitiveness that wasn't just about basketball. The tension of why is she getting all the attention? And instead of the league stepping in with a firm, unified front that said, "We rise together," they sat back. They let the divide grow. Fast forward to the golf course, and the same pattern repeats. Caitlin has another breakthrough moment, this time outside her sport. And what does she get from the league that she represents on the biggest stage? Crickets. And then, that quiet little warning from the top. A not-so-subtle reminder to tone it down. To not let her name outshine the WNBA logo. Because, apparently, there's a threshold for how much light you're allowed to attract before you become a problem. It's a pattern we've seen play out before, not just in women's basketball, but in sports overall, especially when it comes to women athletes. The moment they cross that invisible line between team player and individual brand, the support becomes conditional, the tone changes, and suddenly, authenticity is reframed as arrogance, and independence is mistaken for disloyalty. But Caitlin never asked to be the face of anything. She didn't apply to be the savior of a league, or the bridge between two sports, or the conversation piece in boardrooms full of nervous execs. She just kept showing up, performing, connecting, inspiring. The fans made her the star, not the media machine. And that's exactly why this rubbed so many people the wrong way. Because she didn't follow the script. She didn't beg for visibility. She earned it organically. She didn't climb over her peers. She rose on her own merit. And still, the system responded with skepticism. Still, the message came through loud and clear. Stay where you belong. The thing is, Caitlin never claimed to belong anywhere but where her passion takes her. She's an athlete, full stop. She's not boxed in by position, sport, or league. She's redefining the kind of athlete young girls can grow up to be. One that doesn't have to pick a single lane and stay there for 20 years. One who can dominate in basketball and still have a wicked golf swing. One who can light up ESPN and the Golf Channel in the same week. And for a league that talks constantly about growing the game, that should be a dream. But instead, it turned into a PR tightrope. The league didn't know whether to celebrate or stay silent. And by defaulting to silence, they made their position loud. They chose to play it safe. They chose internal politics over public support. And in doing so, they turned a win into a warning and a moment into a mess. Now the conversation is no longer just about Caitlin's golf skills. It's about the kind of league the WNBA is trying to be. Is it one that truly backs its stars, even when their paths extend beyond the three-point line? Or is it one that only supports individuality when it stays neatly in line with everyone else? Because here's the deal. Caitlin isn't going to shrink to fit expectations. That ship has sailed. She's already shown that her impact isn't limited to one league or one sport. And the more the WNBA resists that, the more obvious it becomes that the problem isn't the player, it's the system. Fans know it. Young athletes know it. Even the media knows it. Everyone's watching how this league handles its brightest light. And if the response continues to be passive-aggressive silence or quiet, reprimands, they risk losing more than Caitlin. They risk losing the audience she brought with her. Because make no mistake, Caitlin Clark is the future of sports marketing. She's the prototype. She's got the stats, the humility, the crossover appeal, and the cultural currency to bring women's sports into new rooms and new revenue. But only if the people around her recognize the value of what she's building. She's not just a basketball player. She's a moment. And how the WNBA handles that moment is going to say everything about where they go from here. So what do you think? Should Caitlin Clark have been warned for simply excelling in another sport? Or should the WNBA have stepped up and embraced her golf performance as a win for everyone in women's sports? Hit that like button if you think athletes should be supported, not silenced. Let us know in the comments where you stand, because this isn't just about one player, it's about what kind of future we want for women in sports. And if you're here for more bold stories, sports shakeups, and the real behind-the-scenes drama they don't want you to see, subscribe. We're not done with this one. Not by a long shot.